What's up guys, and thank you for coming back to the channel. Today, we will be playing Pokemon Fire Red with a twist. We can only use the first stage of 3-stage evolution lines such as Geodude, Abra, Oddish, and the starters. Except I can't use the starters, because that would just make too much sense. So let's get into it. So after naming myself and my rival, I started my Pokemon journey, trying to go into the long grass before an old man stops me and picking up the weirdest and ugliest Squirtle I've ever found, who I called Super Soaker. Super Soaker is a water type, and because the first gym is a rock type gym, we didn't have to do a ton of training, and we also didn't catch any Pokemon before the first gym. The only ones we could have would be Pidgey, Weedle, or Caterpie, all of which are absolutely terrible. So we start the rock fight, he sends out Geodude, I send out Super Soaker, hitting him with a 4 times effective bubble to take him down to critical health while he uses Defense Curl. We use the opportunity to bubble him again, taking him out and leveling up. Just take a look at those stats, which are pretty good for this point in the game. He then sends out Onix, also ground rock, so 4 times weak to bubble. He misses his rock tomb, at a quarter health, he has nowhere to run, and we take him out with another bubble. As we saw in the rock fight, Super Soaker does pretty well against the ground rock types of Mount Moon. We pick up a Geodude for ourselves, who we call George, and he had an adamant nature, which is perfect. Attack up and special attack down, guaranteeing he will be the physical spearhead of our team. Once we beat Mount Moon, we are faced with the Cerulean City rival battle, the first one where Bulbasaur has Vine. This beats both George and Super Soaker, so we have to use a new strategy. George's super effective Rock Throw beats Pidgeotto, and we switch to Super Soaker to ruin Bulbasaur's accuracy and defense with Smokescreen and Leer. When Bulbasaur kills Super Soaker, we use George's high physical attack to Mega Punch Bulbasaur, and the last two Pokemon can't deal with a physical tank like George. After this, we catch ourselves an Abra on our first ball at full health, who we call Shad. He has a modest nature, which is perfect. Special attack up, attack down, allowing him to be the best special attacker on our team. We also get an Oddish for Misty's gym, who we kind of discard as the game goes on because Oddish is just so slow it can't do anything on its own. Before we did the Misty fight, we did the SSN to make sure Subscribe the Oddish had enough XP to, stand up for itself. But this also meant doing the rival fight. In this rival fight, he was pretty confident knowing that half of our team was still weak to Vine, but he didn't know our secret weapon, his secret weapon. After taking out Pidgeotto with George, we used Subscribe's Sleep Powder before Ivysaur could do the same to us, using Acid to kill Ivysaur and switching to Shad to use Dark-type Thieves to beat Kadabra. Shad got confused, so he switched to George to beat Kadabra and Raticate, sealing the win. For the Misty fight, we used Subscribe, hitting Staryu with Bullet Seed, putting Starmie to sleep and Bullet Seeding it, and finishing it off with Absorb for an easy win. To get revenge for that awful trash can puzzle, George uses 3 earthquakes to raise the gym to the ground, and we collect the 3rd badge and move on to Rock Tunnel. After making everyone in Rock Tunnel fear for their lives with George's earthquakes, we make it to Lavender Town. We have no business here until we get the Silver Scoop. Upon making it to Celadon City, we go straight to the old lady's house. She will give us the tea which lets us go to Fuchsia City, and from there we can go to Mr. Psychic's house and he will give us the TM for Psychic, which will be Shad's strongest move. With Shad's powerful stab Psychic, we finally have what we need to challenge Erica's Grass Gym, as most of her Pokemon are poison and we're able to sweep the team with it. When we go into the Team Rocket hideout, of course there are poison and normal types mostly, which means we're able to easily take out all the Pokemon with our Psychic from Shad and also Brick Break from Chad the Machop, who we do end up discarding later on in the playthrough, like Subscribe the Oddish just wasn't up to standard on the team, especially in terms of the speed. After we beat that, we go on to beat Giovanni, get at the Silver Scope, and now we're able to go into Pokemon Tower. These rival battles are only getting easier. After getting sand attacked once, George still hits the Rock Slide on Pidgeotto, killing it in 1 hit. We then go into Shad to counter Ivysaur with a Psychic, and stay in Shad to use Shockwave. 4 times effective, it's gonna one-shot Gyarados. It didn't one-shot Gyarados, and Shad gets one-shot with a massive thrash. We go into Subscribe to use Bullet Seed to take it out, then we go into George to Secret Power Kadabra and roll out Growlithe for the win. Despite its maze-like structure, Pokemon Tower is really easy for us. We one-shot all the Ghastlies with Psychic from Shad, and catch one for ourselves, who we call the Void. The Void is pretty good, very good special attack, while not as great as Shad, but it can learn far better coverage moves, which will really help us. After Pokemon Tower, we headed straight to Celadon City to buy the Ice Beam TM for Super Soaker. You haven't seen her for a long time because we really haven't needed a water type, so we just haven't used her. But as stronger trainers approach, we need the type advantages wherever we can get them, and having an Ice type move will be perfect for that. For the Koga fight, we send out Shad first, as Koga sends out Koffing. We pop Koffing with a Psychic, as Koga goes into Muck, we send out George. We start using rollouts as Muck builds up a Minimize, raising its evasiveness. We hit the first rollout dealing minimal damage as Muck hits us with the Sludge which doesn't poison, so George gets an even stronger rollout this time. Muck gives us a Toxic, which means George's life is on a soft time limit as we hit the next rollout, taking Muck down to a quarter health. George gets hurt by poison and Muck builds up a Minimize, allowing it to dodge George's next rollout, so we have to use Self-Destruct to secure the kill. We then send out Subscribe the Oddish to hopefully put Koffing to sleep, but we get smoke screened and Koffing uses Self-Destruct, taking them both down. Now it's just Shad versus Weezing, both of our strongest Pokemon. Shad wins the Quick Draw and pops Weezing with a Stab Psychic, winning the battle. So after beating Koga, we were able to use the Surf HM outside a battle. This allowed us to get to Cinnabar Island, we beat the Pokemon Mansion, no problem. But we had a bit of a roadblock at Blaine. So even though Super Soaker has the type advantage on Blaine, we still can't win the Blaine fight yet. Even though we have super effective attacks and Blaine's signature Fire Blast deals half damage to us, it still takes Super Soaker down to half health. And Super Soaker gets outsped by 3 of Blaine's 4 Pokemon, which is really difficult to deal with when we die in 2 hits. So we had to grind until we were faster, until we discovered a certain move. Instead of repeatedly bashing my head against the brick walls, I went to stop Silco instead. This was pretty easy because Super Soaker was one shot, so after talking to your bunny, you can get the sweep in the surf. Still quite again, easy. We have all the types we need to beat except Alakazam, being ready to bring it in. As she wants, and one-shot all of them with Surf, which easily gets us the game match. Up next was the Psychic Gym. This was just an absolute wash. Shad's Dark-type technique is super effective against all the Pokemon except Metal, who we can just cycle down, allowing Shad to two-shot all of some Pokemon. She will get to this TM. Up next was the Geodude Glider. But as always, it was just another for the team while Shad killed him with Shockwave, allowing Super Soaker to come in and surf down right forward round. Rival then sent out Alakazam to survive and Hydro Pump from a sliver, allowing Shad to come in and take him out completely. After getting through Victory Road, which was just annoying, not difficult, we knew we had to grind. There was no way I could beat any other Pokemon like Lance's Dragons and the Rivals Arcanine without being a high enough level. So here's our team before the Elite Four. First off, we have Shad, the highest level out of everyone with the highest special attack and speed. He's got Psychic, Thief, Shockwave and Calm Mind set up on opponents who can't hit him. Now we've got the Void. The Void is another special attacker we have, really high special attack and speed, and really good coverage moves as well, with Thunderbolt and Taunt to take care of Lorelei's Jinx, who can put people to sleep, and of course there's Hypnosis and Dream Eater to stay healthy. George is our only physical attacker, and oh boy is he. Really low speed and special defense, but he makes up for that with being insanely strong and being able to go Ultra Instinct with Double Team and Explosion. And lastly, Super Soaker. Pretty mediocre special attack and speed, but she can buff up both of those with Rain Dance, and then she can sweep with Hydro Pump and Ice Beam. Up first was Lorelei, who was an easy sweep. Dugong only had special moves, and Shad's Carmine raises both his special attack and defense, meaning the more he sets up, the more he can tank. But on the last turn, Dugong used Hail, allowing Shad to take damage at the end of every turn. We one-shot Dugong, Lapras, Cloyster, Slowbro, and then Hail wore off with Shad at 1 HP, allowing him to kill Jinx as well for an easy win. Next up is the Bruno fight. He starts off by sending out an Onix, and I send out Super Soaker. First thing, we use Rain Dance to double our speed and buff up the power of our water attacks, so we easily one-shot Onix with Surf. Out comes Hitmonchan, Rain continues to fall, and we use Hydro Pump, taking Hitmonchan down to really low health. He hits a Rock Tomb, lowering our speed, but it's still doubled by Rain Dance, meaning that we still outspeed. Bruno uses a full restore, but we're able to take him down to less than half health with a Surf, and then kill him with the next one. Hitmonlee comes out and the rain stops, so we have to use another Rain Dance, tanking a Brick Break with Super Soaker's amazing physical defense, and we hit another Hydro Pump before dying to Facade. It doesn't matter though, because out comes Shad and he's able to sweep Hitmonlee, Onix, and Machamp with Stab Psychic. Up next is Agatha. She sends out Gengar first, and I send out Shad, who one-shots Gengar with a Psychic. And the same goes for Golbat and Arbok, who are both pure poison and get destroyed by a strong Stab Psychic move. The next Gengar outspeeds Shad and one-shots him with a Shadow Ball because it's physical in this generation. We send out the Void, but sadly, the Void can't outspeed this Gengar and dies the same way. Because Ghost is physical in this generation, we send out our best physical defender, George, to start a rollout which eventually powers over Gengar's defenses and we're able to take it out. Once Gengar is out of the picture, the final Haunter comes in, who hits a Hypnosis on George, then uses Dream Eater to finish him off, so we have to send out our final Pokemon, Super Soaker, setting up a Rain Dance while Haunter wastes its turn using Mean Look. Then we both miss Hydro Pump and Hypnosis before Super Soaker hits a Hydro Pump, one-shotting Haunter and winning the battle. The last fight is the Lance fight. He sends out Gyarados first, and we send out the Void first. Gyarados hits us with a super effective bite, taking us down to 10 HP, while we one-shot him with a 4 times effective Thunderbolt. We switch into George for Aerodactyl because we know George can tank Aerodactyl so hard, so we max our evasiveness with Double Team and start a rollout that kills Aerodactyl and the next Dragonair. Dragonair after this dodges our rollout, so George makes the executive decision to blow himself up, killing both himself and the Dragonair, leaving just the Dragonite. We go for Super Soaker in hopes of hitting a 4 times effective Ice Beam, but Dragonite one-shots Super Soaker with Outrage. We then go into the Void, just hoping that we can move first with Hypnosis, but he also gets one shot by Outrage. Just Shad is left now. We know we have to use Calm-Mind to buff our special defense so we can survive an Outrage, and look what happens, we survive. Dragonite is now confused due to fatigue, so we can hit a Psychic, taking him down to critical health. He hurts himself in confusion, eats a berry, and then gets a full restore from Lance, meaning that now we have to move first next turn to kill Dragonite. But we do, hitting a Psychic and winning the Lance fight. Just the champion battle to go now. So, for the final rival fight, we send out Shad and he sends out Pidgeot. What needs to happen is he needs to Sand Attack us twice, giving us 2 chances to use Calm Mind, so then we can use the guaranteed accuracy Shockwave to kill both Pidgeot and Gyarados. Then, out comes Arcanine. Arcanine is a massive threat in this fight because he has extreme speed, which always moves first, and flame focus is a special attack, so it one-shots George. What we need to do is have Shad at full health so we can tank an extreme speed, then get lucky, hitting a psychic and taking out Arcanine. Venusaur is an easy one-shot and out comes Alakazam. Thief is a dark type move, so we're able to be super effective against Alakazam with it, which takes him down to critical health, but he always gets healed back with a full restore until Shad misses his attack and is sadly killed. And for the final time in this run, George uses Explosion, killing himself and Alakazam, leaving just Rhydon. Out comes Rhydon, so we send out Super Soaker. At this point, it's a quick draw, but Super Soaker moves first, hitting the 4 times effective Surf and winning the challenge for us. And oh my god, this challenge was really fun. It was, of course, the first Pokemon challenge I'm uploading on my channel, and yeah, it was definitely easier than I expected it to be. A lot of the major battles were just absolutely trounced by Shad, and I found it really fun to get to use such a variety of Pokemon. I originally, of course, you saw the Oddish, and I may have mentioned Machop in the video. I discarded both of those as we got later on into the game because they were both just too slow to do well. Of course, George was quite slow, but he managed to counteract that with his evasiveness. I also got insanely lucky in this run. I managed to get the 4 Pokemon I had, 3 of them had the optimal nature, that being George was adamant, and then Shad and the Void were both modest, which allowed them to have really high attack basically for free. And one last thing, this challenge took ages to make, easily over 3 months, not just because it took a lot of grinding to do, but because I just couldn't get the motivation to edit a lot of the time. It's my first time getting back into a video in easily over half a year, so yeah. But after all, this took me so long, it would really help me out a ton if you guys could go down below, like, comment and subscribe to just boost this video a bit, and I'd like to make more Pokemon challenges like this in the future. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.